Go live.
What's going down, everybody? Welcome to a special edition of the Root of It All show. We're just going to have a brief live promotion of this upcoming conference that's going to be very, very beneficial. It's going to be blessing some folks. And I have, again, my dynamic people. I'm calling them already Doc Square, because that's what they are. They Doc Square. That's their name for me. Forget the Goodloes, but they Doc Square. But I have Dr. William and Lizette Goodloe with Behind the Whistle. I'm going to be talking about their awesome conference that is coming up next weekend. We're going to be talking about some updates and what that looks like and where you can sign up. But this is going to be very beneficial, especially in this day and time now of what we're dealing with. We're dealing with COVID-19 still. We're still having to tell people to wash your hands. And also, we're going to be also discussing in this conference, we're going to have some dynamic doctors who are experts in their field. I'm going to be talking about, the battle of racism. And so we got the Goodloes with us. Goodloes, how y'all doing on today?
Doing well.
We're doing all right. We're hanging in there. We're preparing for this event.
Yes,
well, awesome. Well, hey, glad to have y'all again. And so in this, we got the event coming up. I am going to shut up and allow y'all to talk about what that looks like, but definitely tell the people what's coming up on next weekend.
Well, we've got our third symposium that's happening next Friday and Saturday. So July 17th through the 18th. On the 17th, it starts at 9 a.m. and it'll be over at 5 p.m. And then on Saturday, it starts at 9 and we will end at 1 p.m. And it's an opportunity to come and learn from some of the best people in the business. We have some of the same speakers that we've had for the last couple of years, and we've added to our family. And we are excited to learn and grow together at Behind the Whistle. That's what we do.
Yes, absolutely. It's going to be fun.
Awesome. I like that. And then if there's anybody who's live, we're starting to see some people kind of trickle in. Welcome to this. We're going to be only here just for a few minutes, about 15 minutes, if possible. If you have some comments, some questions, definitely put that in there, and we'll get that posted and answered to y'all by Doc Square. But looking forward to this. There's going to probably be some new people tuning in. Just giving them a brief synopsis and history of Behind the Whistle and how it got started.
So basically, Behind the Whistle started with the conversation, or several conversations, after attending the Black Student Athlete Summit at the University of Texas. We sat and had a long discussion with Dr. Leonard Moore about different ways to impact secondary education, athletics education. And what we did in our drive back from Austin to here, which headquarters here in San Antonio, what we did is we had a conversation about how we can affect change. We want to assist not only the student athletes, but also the coaches in their holistic development. A lot of times we talk about what happens in student athlete development at the youth sport level and the intercollegiate level. And a conversation was missing in the interscholastic space. So we wanted to talk about high school athletic development, not only from the development of the student, but also of the people who are responsible for developing them. So we created Behind the Whistle as a professional development and education consulting company. And we started in 2018. We had a symposium in 2018, symposium in 2019, and here we are in 2020, about to launch our third annual event, which is entitled SCHEMA. And here we are. It's about to go down next Friday.
Yes, indeed. It's definitely about to go down. And talk to the listeners, those who tuned in. Why did you title it SCHEMA?
Well, the reason we titled it SCHEMA for this year is we wanted to be solution-oriented, solution-driven, because we have some major issues to deal with right now with the pandemic, this global pandemic, and then also this racial and this racism it isn't new. It's something that we've talked about for the last couple of years at our symposium, but it's something now that has been brought to the forefront. Our student athletes at the collegiate level are speaking up and making demands, and we want to have people help them and support them in their desired for change on their campuses, but also at the secondary level to help students understand what they can do to help make changes at their level as well. And then as they move into and progress into the collegiate setting. So it's a solution driven conference. Some of our presenters will pose some questions and some problems that are happening on their campus. And we hope to, all of us, work together to find those solutions and help them as they go back to their campus or their organization.
Awesome. Now, kind of talk to us about, the process of how things are working for the conference. Is a little bit different, right? So, the past 2 years, it's been physical. We've had some face-to-face interaction. There's been some great dialogue. What is the dynamic of this particular one coming up next weekend?
Well, in this context, we, like a lot of folks, have transitioned to the virtual space. We are in a webinar format currently and exploring potentially converting to a meeting situation on the Zoom platform. And what we anticipate is providing the same, well, not the same, but as much interaction as we would in our face-to-face event as possible. Obviously, you're not going to be able to get up and do a rock, paper, scissors tournament to full roar, because we won't have that physical engagement. But we can still ask questions and we can still love on each other from a distance. And so we created this virtual opportunity, and the challenge will still be there for us to be our authentic selves and really have what I would call the uncomfortable conversation that is necessary for growth. Some of us get in the weight room or lift the weights, not as much as Jody, obviously, but we get in the weight room, and the purpose of being in the weight room is to tear that muscle down so you can make it stronger. And so we want to tear down some of these walls, and we want to build some bridges with the bricks that come from it.
Awesome. Well, that's awesome, man. And again, looking forward to that. This is a 1.5 day event. Yes. I think probably this would be an awesome staff development for those who are interested, specifically in the time that we're going in right now. For the state of Texas, we know at least right now, there's a lot of things from a sports perspective that is up in the air. We don't know what's going to transpire. Plans are being put in place due to social distancing guidelines. For all of you all who are tuned in to TEA and UIL, we know what options family have school-wise. Let's kind of touch on that. What are your thoughts about what we've learned from TEA involving, the option of parents to either send their kids to school or stay at home and do virtual learning?
Well, I think the guidelines that were in place did not include conversations with teachers. And I think that's probably one of our biggest concerns, because we're the ones that are going to physically have to go back into the building, and we know how things operate in the classroom with other children. And we just, we use our son as an example. He's going into the 3rd grade, and in elementary, children are walking germs. They can't keep their hands to themselves. So that poses a huge problem for those elementary school teachers, and even at the secondary level. But I specifically focused on elementary because of Omri. But it's hard to be in those spaces, especially if this virus is airborne, and to expect teachers and students to wear these face masks all day. That eliminates a lot of the relationships that you can build, because you can't smile. Your facial expressions are completely taken away with these masks. And those things pose some big problems. I can't tell if a student is bothered by something because they're wearing a mask all of a sudden. And that's a big component of what we do in the classroom, is to be able to gauge their wellness and some of the emotions that they're feeling. They just express them, non-verbally. So those things are eliminated. But I'm afraid for us as educators, all of us that have to go back into the building. I know custodians and maintenance workers have been in these buildings this whole time trying to prepare for this return, but they haven't been in those buildings with lots and lots of people, with children. And we're talking about hundreds, and some campuses, thousands of people at the same time. So I'm anxious to see what what's going to come within the next couple of weeks, because we still have to prepare to educate our kids when, come August, I don't know, 24th, 10th, 17th, who knows?
August sometime.
But we're still going to have a school year. We know that. We just don't know what it's going to look like. And I think that decision needs to be made sooner rather than later so we can prepare as professionals.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with that. I think, in all of this, everybody needs to make sure that we don't go off of emotions, because I think right now, for the most part, despite whether we agree or disagree with the decisions, emotions is not going to make things better, right? We gotta have some logical sense in this. We got to have patience. Things are being talked about, but definitely feel you on that. I know I saw recently, I think it was KView, something like that, our local Austin station here. There was some displeased teachers in the Round Rock ISD school district about those options and actually what that email actually stated. And I'll shoot a link to that actual article in the comments section after we're done here with this live. But basically, there was a lot of emotions tied to the response of that. And I think we got to be careful about that, specifically when we're talking about these kids. And then there's every different opinions, regardless of the fact, about, wearing masks for an extended period of time. And in that, there are different opinions about that, but rules are rules. And the best thing to do is abide by them. If it's going to be a problem to wear a mask for an extended period of time, then we need to make sure that we plan accordingly. I know a lot of things that are still up in the air for many school districts, and I'm talking about nationwide, but I know for sure in the Austin and San Antonio area for sure, because that's what we're familiar with more than anything else. But anywhere you go, those who choose to stay home, what are you going to do as far as having internet access and having those resources to be able to pull the materials and the work that you need to be online? I've looked through some websites locally for my area, and there are plans put in place for one school district to have assignments turned in at 11:59 p.m. that day in case siblings have to share a device. That's a great plan. But in that, that's still going to, come about to say what's going to happen with families who don't have the necessary resources to have internet access or a device in that. What do y'all say about that?
Well, I think that's a critical consideration. There are several families without those capabilities in their home, and there are certain luxuries in which some of us are afforded and some of us are not. And so I think if we are in a situation where we have to stay at home for an extended period of time beyond what we've already done, I think that some of those provisions need to come from our tax dollars, and we need to find ways to make sure that the least among us are taken care of. It's important, obviously, for our children to be educated. We understand that it's important for the teachers to do their jobs. Obviously, Lizette and I are both teachers, and we want to certainly assist our students with developing their knowledge and becoming the very best reflections of themselves. But we also understand from where we work and our campus that several of our students do not have the financial means to do so. And so how do we address that? From a logistical standpoint, we don't know. We certainly will, we continue to pray, but we also know that faith without works is dead. So we have to find a way to take action to help our young people and the families in our communities who are less fortunate, and make sure that we are able to help them maximize. And I think that's I'm prayerful that is one of the main considerations. It's kind of like the parable of the lost sheep, right? We got to make sure we get that one, and if that means, taking care of the bill collectively, then that's what we do. And because we don't want to lose that one genius, because that one kid may be the one that saves us all. Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. And so from a sports perspective, we're still on hold. We don't know what's going on, right? A lot of things are, pending. It's going to be really based on the ones who have the most influence will dictate of what potentially might happen.
Right.
And in that, I do know that New Mexico, for example, has stated that their football season is going to start in February.
Right.
What are your thoughts of our sports if we have to shift to that? What are the pros and cons? Now, granted, the pros is we're taking care of health, which is number one and important, right? That's the number one thing. Is we're really concerned about the health. But from the perspective of athletes, what are y'all thoughts on that? Because I read something from a football player who made a comment that said that he hoped that does not happen, because if that's the case, he's kissing his senior season goodbye. And the reason is because he's a senior who's already committed to play for a university. And, normally what happens is those kids graduate in December and enroll in college in the spring, so they can be involved with, spring training and things of that nature, and start getting acclimated with the team. What are y'all thoughts of if for us in Texas, UIL decides to push things back to 2021?
Right. Well, from that perspective, if you're going from the football perspective, I think it could have some obvious. It could be very detrimental to flip the season to the spring. And obviously, with some of the premier class of 21 athletes from the football perspective, many of them would obviously lose the season. It also has the other impact from that would be them playing a football season in February and then turning around and starting another one in August, which makes this essentially a year-round activity in terms of playing two seasons in the same calendar year. I think that could be very dangerous. I think obviously the pros of doing such is also having the potential of having a vaccine or a better method of treating this unseen virus. Obviously, from a logistics standpoint, you have to deal with basketball athletes not being able to play football and basketball in the same school year. You have to deal with track athletes who in a lot of places come from both the basketball and football teams. Yeah, what are you doing with the volleyball players? How does that work? What about their softball seasons or their track seasons, right? What are you doing with the spring sport athletes or those that just compete in those sports specifically? And also, how does that impact the AAU situation? So if you're a basketball player, how does that impact your AAU season? Because that, obviously, better than we do, that gets rolling right after state finals. And in some places, it gets rolling before. But, how does that impact it? And so I think, the best thing or the best perspective that I've heard so far is it is always better to err on the side of caution and take care of the athletes or the students and take care of the coaches, because there's also coaches out there. Another consideration in this is I know there's school districts who are entertaining the idea of not compensating the coaches and paying the stipends. So you have some financial impact for some families beyond just the folks that are unable to go to work. You're talking about people losing mortgage payment amounts of money per month, which is that's significant. And so, but again, like I said, one of the best things is to err on the side of caution. And if we prevent one person from dying from this thing needlessly for the sake of competition, then so be it. At some point, we're going to have to decide which is best, because especially in the high contact sport that is football, the linemen will engage each other, and that spit and bodily fluid will be exchanged. One way or another. Everybody's not a quarterback, and he may not get hit every snap, but his center is going to get hit in the mouth, and that's going to happen. And so, the question is it necessary? Is it safe? And I'm a former football coach. I love sports. We believe in athletics. We believe in the power of sport. And so I don't want anybody to misconstrue what I'm saying. Sports are important. But the greatest resource we have on this planet is our youth, and we need to take care of them. And if that means they can't play, then so be it. I would rather, they not play and be safe and have an opportunity to still be great in life than to risk, life for a season. obviously we don't get to tell the future, but we also, my son is a class of 21 athlete, and I know he's concerned about getting a scholarship opportunity to play football. And so would I trade my son for a scholarship? Absolutely not. It's that simple. So, but it's simple for me.
Yeah, definitely. And it's still tough times that we got to work things out. But again, the thing is about to be logical and also be practical in this. And so, looking forward again to this coming this next weekend, rather, for the conference. We're going to go through a couple of things real quick, and then we'll let everybody enjoy the rest of their Saturday. The big thing about this is we want to show you all how to be able to access the website. We know that not everybody is computer savvy. So we want to make sure that we and I'm back.
There you went.
Little Houdini trick there. Yeah, that's why we do these things live, man. Work through the kinks. Again,
ain't nothing wrong with it. Sign up.
No, not at all. Not at all. But again, folks, as I was saying, what we're going to do is show you all how to navigate through this. So in this, what we will do is you go to Behind the Whistle. And in going to Behind the Whistle, are y'all seeing y'all's website up here, Will?
Yes. Look at that.
Go to the website, and I'll let y'all view this on your own time, folks. But I want you to click on upcoming events. And so once you click up upcoming events, you'll see Schema. And right there where it says register, you click on that register, and it's going to take you to eventbrite.com. And in that, you go through Eventbrite, and in that, you'll go through your tickets, read the details, look at the guests. We got all these great doctors and specialists who's going to be on the panel for this day and a half next weekend. Click on your tickets. Let that come up. Choose whatever you're going to select. It gives you the prices of what that is. It's for students. It's for coaches. If you have a group of coaches going to get in, you would enter that. But right above that, there'll be a promo code. And you click on that promo code, and that's where you'll enter that promo code. And so in that, what we're doing is we are going to make sure that we send you all to the rate a link. So definitely look at that there. And again, register for that at behindthewhistle.net. Definitely click on the registration as what I just showed you and directed you to. And then when you go on there, definitely enter the promo code, the Root of It All Pod, to be able to finish that process, make your payments, and be ready to roll. Once they do that, what can they expect afterwards?
They'll be getting an email that will give them the link for the webinar. They'll get one a day before the event and then an hour before the event, just as a reminder to get on and join us at that time at 9 a.m. on Friday, July 17th.
Awesome. Well, great. And appreciate that. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a blast. Although it's virtual, it's still going to be productive. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But want to thank you all, Goodloes, for your time. Enjoy the rest of that Saturday. And to you all, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Tune in to the Root of It All on all social platforms, definitely on all podcast platforms. We're changing lives one podcast at a time. Y'all be blessed. We'll see you next time.